you know, I believe real estate agents, like we all have the same heart in a lot of ways, like, but sometimes it's just really hard to get out of your own way, because people are like very protective of things. So they're thinking, well, I'm going to do this, but like, how do I know that they're going to know it's for me? How do I know they're going to like remember in years that it was for me? And it's kind of putting the focus on the wrong things.
Fargo with Stewart Title in Las Vegas, Nevada, but no one cares about me except for my ex-wife, who receives alimony checks once a month. God bless her, and my kids who do love me unconditionally. Beyond that, we're all here to talk to one of the nicest people that you'll ever come across in the real estate sector, and that is Jay O'Brien with Client Giant. Jay, welcome, my friend.
Thank you so much. It's an honor to be here. Can't believe we're able to co-host this thing together. Life is good. Lots to be thankful for.
This is to me, I can die a happy man. I'll be honest with you. This is good. If the Lord was to take me right now, lightning comes down, I'm good.
Oh man, God forbid.
God forbid.
Maybe we should start with the mustache. Let's just get that one right out of the way.
Can we let the elephant in the room, the mustache, please? What was the rationale behind it? What was the impetus to have that thing go, please?
Well, okay, so it's November, right? So I'm not sure if you've ever participated in this before, but it's actually, there's a whole charity around it to support men's health, things like testicular cancer, prostate cancer, even men's suicide, things like that. So the whole idea is that every man will shave their face and only keep the mustache growing. And as you can imagine, it just gets to look more and more ridiculous as the days and weeks go on. And it's all in an effort to raise money to donate to this good cause. So when someone asks you what the hell is on your face, you have an opportunity to talk about it, and then it raises awareness in that regard. So we're doing it actually across the whole Client Giant headquarters here. So pretty much all the guys are participating. So everyone throughout the halls is wearing a mustache on their face. The deal is, if you keep your mustache through the end of the month, Client Giant will donate $100 on your behalf to the foundation. But if you shave, then $100 comes from you. And a bunch of my golfing buddies, I brought this up to them on November 1st, and all 5 of them right then and there just Venmoed me $100. Like, I'm not growing a mustache.
They're out. Screw it. We're out.
That was it. That was short money, but we're going strong.
Easy money. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Good for you, man.
Yeah.
Let's start from the beginning. And for those of you that are on, if you're on the live stream, if you're on Zoom, come in and ask questions as you want. And I'm on the Zoom platform. So if you have questions, by all means, I take enough Adderall to kill everyone on this live stream 3 times over, so I can keep up with you, no problem. Ask away, and then we'll go ahead and have Jay take care of you. Jay, talk to us about the start of Client Giant, where it began, and then where you are today, because it's a great story. It's a great goddamn story.
Thanks. Yeah, thanks for having me. Appreciate it, Tristan and Jeff. So yeah, rewinding pre-Client Giant, I was in real estate since 2011, just going full time on that. And just like any other real estate agent out there, you kind of do your best and ask for referrals and do anything and everything you can possibly do to get a deal. So fast forward a couple of years into the business, when things were going well, I kind of did what I think most business owners should do, which is reassess their business, see if it's defensible, ask the honest questions. I think that's actually more relevant now than ever in the last 18 months, with things going exceedingly well for real estate agents. That is the time to check yourself and say, hey, am I just hitting a lucky streak here? Am I riding a wave? What can I do to make sure my business is defensible in the long run? And I ran that exercise in 2014, kind of combed through all the Zillow reviews, Yelp, you ask for these reviews, you post them on your website. This is how good I am, shit like that. And, really what I kept coming across, the common denominator with all these reviews was, sure, they're all 5 stars because I asked for that, right? Like, no one's gonna, my friend who gives me a 3-star knows it's gonna be awkward next time we grab drinks together, so it's 5. So you look at the comments though, and this is probably the most alarming part, is that they were saying things like, Jay was always on time, Jay was always organized with our file, like we got the home of our dreams because Jay, all this stuff. And if you really just think about it, I'm like, okay, well, that's not enough. That's just, you shouldn't be commended for just doing your job. And the job of a real estate agent or an attorney or any professional out there would really never be commended just for checking all the boxes of their job description. And that's really what it was. So the honest question you have to ask yourself is, what's going to keep me relevant for the next 5, 10, 20 years? And really, what can I say truly sets me apart? And not just in the deep side of things, but at the surface, because I feel like the surface is what matters most. If I can just go on Redfin or Zillow or any sort of iBuyer, bot, whatever, and if I think it's the same as the agent down the street, it doesn't matter if it is or isn't. All that matters is that the consumer thinks it is, and you lost the business. So anyway, I started to kind of just reevaluate things that were super important to me as a consumer. The number one thing being service and experience. I'm a guy who likes to travel a lot. I've been all over the world, and I really value certain levels of hospitality, little touches here and there, things that make you feel a certain way, as opposed to, you know, the promo deals and all the stuff like that. So what I started to do was write down things that would be massively helpful to a buyer or seller during a real estate transaction, pains that they are inevitably going to face with every single deal, and see if there's a way to mitigate those or solve them for them proactively as a part of the service. For example, forwarding of address, transfer of utilities, moving boxes they're going to have to go buy at some point. They're going to have to go run that errand, put them in their car, lag them back to their house and whatnot. And as I was just kind of writing all those things down and things that happen during a transaction, okay, the loan gets approved. That's kind of a cool like milestone. Like maybe you could send the equivalent of like a closing gift, but like when you're still in the deal, that'd be kind of cool if you celebrate at that moment, and just kind of like built this outline, right? And so what I did is, instead of putting money into the marketing and the me story of just sold and like I'm the best and all that shit, I just put it into existing clientele, people who already trust me. And that's kind of the reality of the situation, is that we just in general don't take care of people who take care of us. We just don't think to do it. Or if we do, it's often in a very self-serving way. It's like, oh, Jeff, you get my gift that says Jay O'Brien all over it. And that's like, is that really a gift? Hell no, it's not a gift. So this is basically a long-winded way of saying this was a very manual process in the beginning. I shifted everything in 2014 to focus solely on that, and would drop a sizable chunk of every single commission check into the very person who was responsible for it, which was that buyer or seller, by treating them exceedingly well with, you know, dinners and all kinds of stuff. And I can get to that later on. But that really is what started the repeat and referral business machine. And that was really where I just kept pouring more and more, doubling, tripling down on that, because it was making people feel really good, which is super important to me. I ultimately think it goes back to the Maya Angelou quote of, people will forget what you said, forget what you did, they'll never forget the way you made them feel. And so that was I mean, I've kind of always done that. Those of you who like maybe followed me on social, maybe no one in here ever did, and now I'm not on social at all anymore, but once upon a time I was. And on Facebook especially, and a little bit on Instagram, I would share all the stuff that I was doing completely outside of real estate, volunteer stuff around the world, taking care of people during the holidays, doing random acts of kindness for the last decade plus. So it's something that speaks to my core. And that's how the real estate business was able to thrive. Fast forward to 2015, I was named 30 under 30 with Realtor Magazine. And, you know, if those things kind of happen, you get asked to speak and go on panels and things like that. And I just kind of share the methodology to it all. Like, this is kind of what it is. And realistically, at the end of the day, it's a lot to remember. It's a lot to expect someone to do. And so while they were nodding heads in the audience saying like, yeah, I'm going to do that, oh my God, yes, or whatever, and I give everyone all the blueprints, go do whatever you're going to do, years would follow and people wouldn't actually execute on it, because it is a lot to remember. It's a lot to do. So this is, you know, a 15-minute way of answering your very simple short question of how Client Giant began. And so this ended up just being something that I said, you know what, this is something that's like I've been doing for years. I do it for things far outside of real estate and clients. And I bet you I could make people's days of your clients on your behalf, and my name will stay out of it, and you'll look like the rock star, and I'll make it completely automated so you never even have to think about it. And that was the MVP of Client Giant.
The greatest part, and just for those of you that don't know, I've been friends with Jay for years. Was there, had the honor of having a front row seat to the launch of the platform, and have been a big proponent of it since day one. I love Jay. Like I said before, I love Jay and Jeff with the heat of 1,000 suns. They are amazing at what they do, and really for the realtor just wants to get more deals. That's it. At the end of the day, they just want to get more deals, but they want to work as efficiently as possible to get those deals done. And so the part that you're bringing to the table, and correct me if I'm wrong, is that you're providing organic, sincere touches to these folks that create these surprise and delight, situations per your terminology, that just really sets a realtor apart. And that's the part I think that makes Client Giant so unique, and that Client Giant, again, paraphrasing Client Giant's videos, is a ghost in the process.
Yep, absolutely. I think you hit the nail on the head with the authenticity part too, because at the end of the day, people who trust Client Giant, and I don't want this to necessarily be a Client Giant commercial, but because at the end of the day, if you think of these things, or you do these things and you want to go do them on your own, more power to you. I got a text on day after Thanksgiving from somebody who just said, hey, thank you for all you do. Like, we've implemented all this stuff. And I don't even know if that person uses Client Giant, but it doesn't matter. It just stoked me out that they're doing those things. So the authenticity part is huge. At the end of the day, if you did use Client Giant, or, any company, any service, I think that's a very important piece, because at the end of the day, we're asking you to outsource a personal relationship, which is a huge deal, right? You can't just have like corny stuff show up, or like things that feel self-serving or cheap. It has to really come from a place. And that's why I kind of described the pre-history of Client Giant, is because that's where it all comes from. The people pulling all the strings here at Client Giant have been trained or been a part of a lot of that stuff from pre-Client Giant. So you can kind of rest assured, like, that's the best part, is if you go to clientgiant.com/shoutouts, you can always see all kinds of stuff that gets populated there all the time, that are like screen grabs from people, our members, sending stuff to us. Oh my God, look what my client said on Facebook or social. And it's like, that's really cool, because it's validating the models, validating that we do know what's best. We know how someone's going to react to something, and we are doing all that for you. So you don't have to think about it, and you can, even more importantly, trust that it's being handled in an elegant way.
That's great. I want to pivot a little bit, Jay, to now, how has this thing worked for you now that you've kind of incorporated this thing and you've made it, what was your baby? Now everyone sees your baby. Mm-hmm. And how has the baby grown, from when you started to where you are now?
Yeah, in the beginning, and even still in a lot of ways, I mean, the primary mission to accomplish is to build the foundation and execute on what you've promised, right? So when we started out of my house, and that was the homegrown office, as it usually is. And eventually it went to a 400 square foot, little baby office. And we eventually got one employee that we hired on to take care of things, and things started growing organically. And then we didn't spend $1 on marketing. So similarly to real estate growing, not spending $1 on marketing, we were just delivering on all of our promises to our members who were trusting us for the first time to take care of their clients. They would see the response they would get. They would see repeat and referral business. They put more people on. And not only that, but they would tell colleagues and friends, like, hey, you got to use Client Giant. So we were really just trying to keep up with all of that for probably the first year and a half, until we felt like, okay, we could maybe hire a salesperson to try and sell this stuff now. But we weren't really playing any offense in the beginning, because it would have been a bad situation that we wouldn't be able to handle the influx. So that started. And then, of course, as you can imagine, we've moved offices every year since we've started. We're moving again this week. That's what this box is behind me. And now our spot's 10,000 square feet. So it's grown considerably, thanks to everyone who's put their trust in us. And we take it really, really seriously. Every little thing we do, every little message that's crafted, the timing, the way the system works, it's all been thought of from a million different angles. So much so that members often don't even know, and that's what we call our customers, by the way, as members. They oftentimes don't even know, and they're thinking, "Oh, wow, I didn't even know. I would have never even thought to do that, you know, and not even the gift idea, but just the way it's delivered and the timing and the messaging and all these things and other functionality that's being built on the back end to prevent any sort of redundancy of gifts and things like that. Like we're just covering all bases to make sure it feels super pure, and that each time someone receives a gift from a Client Giant member, they feel like they were Client Gianted, right? Without ever knowing our business exists.
Absolutely. Who is the one that comes up with the originality of your gifts? Because they're amazing. Like they're second to none. You're welcome. I mean, they're second to none. I mean, you look at the top of mind program for, you know, quarterly gifts that are absolutely home runs. Who, I mean, are you like in a sweat lodge, you know, with peyote for like a week and just like
Yeah.
and like a, you know, giant whiteboard? Like what's happening?
Yeah, there is a ton of strategy that goes into that. And now, fortunately, thank God, there's a whole gifting team around that. But the vetting process, I mean, it starts very formal with like a proper brainstorm, where at the end of that brainstorm, there's no gift ideas. There's no tangible, like, oh, what if we did this? It's not meant for that. It's meant to just brainstorm what this feeling should evoke. What should the theme be? What are some ideas around that? And then eventually it starts to funnel into an actual tangible thing if it's top of mind. And if it's other plans or packages, sometimes it's an experience. And as you'll see, 2022, what we roll out is going to be a whole other level that's coming to the table. So it's a whole team, to answer your question. And the vetting process really starts from the concept, and then the theme, and then we have samples of these things. And in a lot of cases, we have either vendors making these items for us now, because really no one has this quantity in stock of anything anymore. You got to plan this out months in advance and get everything produced. So that the cool thing with that is a lot of these items can be produced in a different way. You know, like now, because we're able to benefit from economies of scale, it begins to make even more and more and more sense for the member. Because for those of you who don't know what top of mind is, it's a quarterly gifting program where your client or employee or whoever gets a gift from you every 3 months or so at random, and it's thoughtful, the messaging is great, whatever. But it covers 4 gifts a year, and it's the shipping, it's free return to senders, it's everything, all inclusive, done, and it's all automated. And to give you an idea, you know, most people would think like, oh God, okay, well, what are these gifts? They got to be pretty cheap, right? This next one that's going out in winter, which will go out in January, by the way, if you're unfamiliar with top of mind, there are cutoff dates. So you have to get in by December 20th. Otherwise it's done and your client won't get anything till the spring. But this next gift retails at $34 at Nordstrom. This is one gift, right? And that's one of 4. So like, even if you were to go do this on your own, you'd spend way more money doing it on your own, because what we've done is just taking care of those things. Obviously we pass on the savings to the members. So it's really, really hard to beat now. And the perception is also really important, because the consumer, your client, gets something and they go, whoa, what's this? And they look it up like, oh my God, Jeff spent that. Like he's doing this every quarter for me. Like, it's pretty impressive.
It is, it's amazing in terms of, you now have a team around it, but it's something that you started with. It was just, like I said before, your baby that was in your brain to go, this is how I think people should be treated. And they shouldn't be treated with a set of knives that have my name on it.
Yeah.
Or, you know, you gave one, when you came here to Vegas to speak a few years ago, you gave one of the greatest analogies ever, where you said, you don't go to a wedding reception with a giant like Tiffany platter they give to somebody that's got the baby blue with a ribbon on it, and it's got your freaking name and phone number etched in it. You just don't do that.
No.
Right?
Yeah. Now you'll probably see on a lot of our ads the last couple months, and probably going into Q1, this campaign that we've been doing called GTFO, and it's gift thoughtfully for once. And it's all kinds of that branded crap to just kind of show, like, you know, I believe real estate agents, like, we all have the same heart in a lot of ways, like, you know, but sometimes it's just really hard to get out of your own way, you know, because people are like very protective of things. So they're thinking, well, I'm going to do this, but like, how do I know that they're going to know it's for me? How do I know they're going to like remember in years that it was for me? And it's kind of putting the focus on the wrong things. And I mean, the best advice I could give on this is to just constantly, with anything and everything in your business, just flip the script the other way. How would you react to this if you were the consumer? You designed this insane just sold postcard. You're like, dude, if I got this, would I be stoked or not? And
Yeah.
if not, then like scrap it,
Yeah.
and there's a time and a place. But at the end of the day, I would say for real estate agents, it's really important to kind of analyze all their buckets of their business the way they do with anything in accounting or whatever, and really to understand the separation between what is marketing and what is hospitality. And so when people go, oh yeah, I gift people with like a sensations card, and I gift people with a recipe card, or I gift people with market updates, and I gift people with my newsletter. These are not gifts, right? So you just can't, don't bleed the two together. This bucket serves a purpose. Marketing is great. Understand what's most effective in marketing, but don't send anyone a gift that is clearly marketing disguised as a gift, right? That will destroy the authenticity, and really it'll just be a complete waste of money.
It completely dilutes the relationship. And I mean, and for those who don't know, I'm a digital marketing guy and have been, in the title and escrow space, been doing it now for almost 7 years. And if you get into that level where you're just treating everyone like everyone else, then they know it, you're out. You are out.
Right.
And if you treat them special, that they feel like you're speaking to them, whether it's whatever type of messaging you're doing, with a tangible gift or a message that you're sending them, then you're going to grow. And I think that's one of the founding, pillars of Client Giant, is that it speaks to a person. Jay, if you could get into, you've got, Client Giant has some crazy packages. Like, there's stuff that for a higher spend, you're looking at dinner, drinks that people are going out for, events, customized gifting. If you can get into some of maybe some of the customized gifts that you guys have sent out, or some of the customized experiences that you've provided for clients, members.
Yeah. So there's two separate pieces of this. If you're in real estate, you're looking at most often what's called a transaction package, which there are different levels of that. This is what's happening during a transaction and slightly after. And then you're looking at retention plans. This would be top of mind plus, and then some of the higher elevated ones like executive luxury elite. So some of those touches, some of those experiences that are elevated. Let's talk about first the gift catered to your client's interests. Okay, this is a huge one. I absolutely love it. I used to do this all the time when I was on Facebook. Yeah, I'd find someone that they'd post about like their new dog or whatever. It's like, okay, well, how hard is it for me to go on Amazon, get dog treats, get some toys, get the dog's name? And what I would do is I would send everything to the dog, not to the client. So like, everything is addressed to Max. The card is to Max. The shipping label is to Max. Everything. And it's just fun, and it hits something just totally different. It's doing something for someone's animal the same way you do something for someone's kid. It just affects them way more. So, back then, Facebook was kind of my feed of like constantly doing this for people. And it could be someone who bought a house 5 years ago. It could be someone who maybe hasn't bought a house, but it's in my network, whatever. And that really catapulted what Client Giant does now, which is if you are purchasing a package like platinum, diamond, or titanium on a real estate transaction, one of these custom tailored gifts is included, and we will take information that you've provided or information that our gifting team has found, and we will utilize it to craft a gift for them. So for those of you who are unfamiliar with how this works functionality wise, you're always notified days prior to a touch. So specifically on a package, I'd say, hey, Jeff, in 2 days, we're sending this gift out. Here's the reason why, here's the message to the client, and here's a picture of the gift. And if Jeff does absolutely nothing, it goes, because it's really built to have like the streamlined business. You have to assume you've got 100 deals at all times. There's no way you're going to just confirm or have to do any sort of action. Like, it's all running, but it provides Jeff visibility and control. If for whatever reason he goes, you kind of missed the mark a little bit, or that's great, but let's delay it. They've had a death in the family yesterday, and this is like bad timing, or anything like that. You have that visibility and control. But the gift catered to a specific client's interest, that's a huge one. We've done all kinds of crazy stuff around that, and that's a fun one. The dinner for two with round trip transportation provided is awesome, because it's all handled by a personal concierge working on behalf of the members. So that's how they're introduced. They call, and again, Client Giant's a ghost in the process. So no one ever knows that Client Giant exists, that those words aren't ever used, that branding or packaging is never seen. So when that call happens, they're delivering the news to, let's say, Jeff's client. Hey, Jeff has decided to gift you with round trip transportation to a 5-star dinner in Las Vegas. Anywhere you'd like to go, where would you like to go? They handle the reservation. They take care of the payment authorization with the restaurant. They do everything. And Jeff looks like the hero the whole way through, gratuities included. And it's really a once in a lifetime experience. Not like it could never happen again, but I bet you for those people receiving it, they probably have never received that as a gift before. That's probably safe to say. So lots of things like that are happening throughout, depending which package or plan you select.
Suzanne just came on and she said, this is so up my alley. I'm a big gift giver. I've been working on an ornament mail out and I'm so overwhelmed, which, oh my gosh, preach, sister. Trying to do that and everything else we do. It's just like another thing.
Yeah, and God, it takes a lot of time. People are baking pies and they're doing all this stuff right now. And at the end of the day, like, I guess one of the ways I look at it is like with anything in business is how long is this stuff taking you, and is the input yielding the proper output? If you looked at how many hours a deal took you, if you said, click, I'm taking the stopwatch and like I'm doing the contracts, I'm doing the offers, click, it's, work's done or whatever, like how many hours would it accumulate to? And like, what does that paycheck look like? Maybe 8, 10, 15 grand. Like by spending these hours driving around town or doing pop buys or any of that stuff, I just don't think it's time well spent. I think for a business owner, they should constantly be thinking about efficiency. So yeah, Suzanne, one of the things that we've done to mitigate against this, maybe it'll be for you, maybe it won't, but if you had all your clients imported into Client Giant, we already have your payment method on file. We have all of their names and addresses. We don't need their phone numbers or emails unless it's tied to a specific offering. And then there's 4 populated holiday gifts on the website. So the way it looks is you would see on the y-axis all your first and last names of your clients. So John Smith, Jane Doe, everyone right here. Then you'd see 4 different gifts right here with little bubbles, right, to click right here. And you can even hit select all so that this whole category is done. So let's say you're like, oh, I want to do the tis the season treats for $35. You could literally hit select all, submit, and you're done. You just bought gifts for hundreds or thousands of people in 2 clicks. And that's really what the business owners are going crazy for right now, is because you do want to protect your time. And unless the ornament specifically has some sentimental value, that has to be an ornament, it could probably be anything that evokes that same sort of feeling when someone receives it. And you literally spent a minute doing the whole thing. So that's the other thing. If you need help with an import, I'll just say this now for anyone here, and I can even type it in here. You can always email it to concierge@clientgiant.com and we could do an import for you.
Awesome. So, all right, let's talk about the future. Let's talk about 2022. What are the visions, goals, hopes, dreams, for Client Giant?
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that I can't yet discuss, but I will give some teasers. You'll see a whole new division of the company go live in Q1 that will specifically be catered to employee happiness. So employer to employee, that goes for onboarding, retention, everything like that. There's all kinds of stuff that, again, has been tested internally for years that we will now be making available publicly. So the dinner for 2, the catered gift, all that stuff was done before. I've personally done all this for years, and then figure out a way. Okay, what's a way that we can deliver this to Client Giant members in a way that feels good and whatever. Then it goes live. Similarly, for the last few years, all kinds of touches, milestones, unique things that we've done for employees. That now will be catered to people who have, whether it's agents or employees or whatever, there'll be that division of things too. So it's not just going to be to clients. We also have friends and family.
Well, my biggest question to you is, and I asked you this years ago, when does Kevin O'Leary or Mark Cuban or Barbara Corcoran just swoop in and go, okay, we're going to give you a Happy Gilmore check of $1 billion. You just keep doing what you're doing. And say it's like, hypothetically Gary Keller, and says, we want to keep you internally, but worldwide for KW or something like that. When's that going to happen?
Who knows? And those conversations, like, with people knocking on the door to want to invest and do this and do that, really it just has to be something where the timing and the interests are aligned. And right now, right now, for the most part, that's just not aligned. There's so many things that we're doing here that I like the fact that we don't have to answer to anybody. You know, we're completely self-funded. We've a lot of things we do for our members and clients would not be possible if we had a big cap table with all these people, and people would say,
Absolutely.
what'd you send Jeff? And what was the reason? And how much did it cost? Well,
Yeah.
it was none of your damn business. And I did it because I fucking felt like it, you know, like,
Yeah.
So a lot of that is why Client Giant works, is putting other people first, and just knowing there's this law of human reciprocity, that what goes around comes around, and you don't need to be so micro and hyper focused on like, did this one turn to this? You put 100 people on top of mind. Well, what happens in a year if I didn't hear back from 20 of them? It's not about the 20 of them. It's not about that. You know, you'll have 5 that pay for the next 10 years of top of mind for you.
Exactly.
And now it just becomes a way that you run your business. Don't be so, again, getting out of your own way, like really putting other people first. It, like with anything, what goes around comes around. It will all work out, you know? And really a big portion of why this works so well is that, and we haven't even gotten into this really, but when we say build an army of repeat and referral business, where that really comes from is that right now, I'm sure there's real estate agents in this right now that are listening to this that are like, oh, dude, I'm 100% referral based. I do great with referrals and whatever. And that's cool. That's actually pretty much how I was doing my business up until 2014 as well. But really the difference is, what's the difference between a passive referral and a passionate referral? And this, I would be willing to bet most of us get a passive referral. And really what I mean by that is, like, if Jeff is out to dinner with someone and they're like, oh yeah, we're looking to buy a house or something, he might say, oh, hey, I got a guy for you. Colton, he's the guy. Jay, he's the guy, like whoever it is. And if they're like, oh, well, we actually already have an appointment with someone this Saturday, we're seeing homes with them. Jeff's probably done, right? That's probably where the referral ends, is he's like, okay, well, if it doesn't work there, let me give you Colton's number. Let me give you Jay's number, whatever. And that's pretty passive. So a lot of times it'll click because that person won't have someone. But if they do, that's kind of where it stops. The difference is, if Jeff has received the dinner for 2 round trip transportation, and he got his favorite Led Zeppelin record on vinyl with a record player for his custom tailored gift, and he got moving boxes when he was in the middle of a move, and all this stuff where he's constantly being taken care of, the conversation shifts entirely. It's no longer passive. It's extremely passionate. And Jeff will be fighting that person at the other end of the table saying, cancel that appointment on Saturday. You're calling Jay. You have no idea what you're in for. And we do this every day already with our favorite movies, our favorite resorts, our favorite restaurants. Like, if someone's like, oh yeah, I haven't seen Squid Game yet, or whatever, name it. You're like, dude, how? Yeah, you're gonna relentlessly fight them to go see it until they do. And then when they do, you will selfishly seek fulfillment in their feedback, right? Oh my God, right. Episode 6 was insane. Oh my God, now we're sharing in the experience together. We do it all the time. And so in order to have major upticks in your referral business, it's not about calling with these cheesy scripts or asking for these referrals or anything. I've to this day not asked for a referral a day in my life. I have not done it. It feels weird. It feels like your service should stand strongly enough on its own where people are doing it. This will do that. You're making people feel a certain way. They're naturally going to passionately refer business. So that's kind of like the other side of this.
For the record, right now, I'm telling everyone about Yellowstone. That's just that's the show. Just saying.
I hear it's a good one. Haven't seen it.
Dude, it's when to preach what you just said, go watch it. Just go watch it, then we'll talk afterwards. Oh my God.
Okay. Deal.
Let's in closing, what else is there in terms of, man, because what you do is so unique and it's amazing. But what is it if a realtor was to say, you know what do I need to be doing better that I can save time and create these passionate referrals? What type of mindset do they have to approach something like that?
I think the mindset really starts with taking care of the people who have taken care of you. And maybe for the newer agents, that's a short list, but there's probably also people in that list that haven't done a deal with you, but they would, right? People who if they were going to buy a house, they'd say, I know Jeff's new, but I'm going to go with Jeff. Like, he's not going to screw us over, and I'm happy to help him while he's green and whatnot. So really what it is it's kind of like, we've all experienced this as consumers, that cognitive dissonance of, if I walk into a Verizon store and I'm like, hey, I saw this commercial that this phone is free. And they're like, oh, no. It's only free if you're a new customer. And I'm like, I don't get it. I've been paying my bill on time for the last 15 years. And this guy's never spent $1 with you, but I'm being told to eat shit. And this guy's getting a free phone. It makes no sense. So mindset wise is thinking like that. Like, for the people who have been responsible for the house you live in, for the restaurants you eat at, for all of these things in your life and your lifestyle, your income, there are people tied to that have given you a chance, and people who have hired you and trusted you. How do you show those people appreciation? And that to me is a lot more important than the new lead grab, right? Because anyone on here is going to say their favorite source of business is a referral, right? Like, no one's like, my favorite source of business is a door knock. That's my favorite. Like, or my favorite source is when someone calls my flyer and they start grinding me on my commission, or say that my house is worth more than I told them it is. Like, that's no one's favorite. You might get a ton of business there, great. But someone's favorite is the red hot referral business where someone says, hey, my buddy James is going to call you to list his house, and you're done. The trust has been built. The handoff has happened, and you're done. So the question becomes, what are we doing to get more of that? Most people aren't doing really much, if anything at all. And if you are doing something, is that something authentic? Is it real? Is it cool? Or is it something where you're like calling people every Monday and then like trying to shoot the shit with them, but really at the end of the day, they're like, why are you calling? Oh, I just want to know if there's anyone in your life I might be able to make an introduction to, or it's like very self-serving and feels fake.
It is something that, as a realtor, if you take the time to get to know the people that you're working with, and they're making the most, the stressful, biggest financial decision of their life, and buying or selling a home, if you can connect with them, you have, not only a friend for life, but also a resource for life that will fight for you, to represent all of their friends and their family. The end.
Yeah.
And end of line. That's it. And so kudos to you, my friend. Your growth is you're walking the walk. And that's what kicks ass is, the fact that now you're just growing every year for, more space. And I don't know if that means Jayco's got to have like a bigger office than you. I don't know if you guys have gotten into that yet, on who's got the bigger office and location, and who's got more glass on there, the whole thing. I don't know if you've gone that way yet.
It's 100% going to be Jayco. You'll see. Every time we get to a new office, I just go for the shoebox. I don't give a shit about the office.
You'll be in a broom closet as long as there's Wi-Fi. You don't care.
Yeah, I don't care.
You don't care at all.
But something that we're doing for all the LabCoatAgents, and Tristan and I just connected a few weeks ago, and what a good dude. I'm happy we finally were able to make that connection. What we're going to do for everyone who's on here and where it gets aired, whatever, we're going to do a promo. So, and again, speaking to what we believe in, it's for anyone. So if you already use Client Giant, you're like crazy about Client Giant, it works for you. And if you've never done it in your life, the same offer goes for you. So I'm going to put it right here in the chat, clientgiant.com/LabCoatAgents. If you go there, you're going to see a $25 credit hit your account. You got to do it by Wednesday. And that will be good for any plan. So that could be top of mind plus, executive luxury elite. And you got to use it sometime between now and the end of the year. So you got to go to the link before Wednesday, and then you can use it. Really use it before December 20th, because that's the next cutoff for top of mind. And $25 will take care of 25% of one of those plans for one of your clients. So that's awesome. For everyone. And if you have any trouble, you can email concierge@clientgiant.com and we can help you.
Right on, my friend. Final thoughts? Anything else you want to let folks know about yourself, about Client Giant, about your business partner that you're far more attractive than?
Not with the mustache. Yeah, he's running the show for the internal meeting today while I'm here. But no, I just want to thank you so much for having me. Thanks, Tristan. It's cool to be a part of this. I know that I'm personally off of social, so I don't really see this stuff, but I often hear from our sales guys and from our member experience team when Client Giant gets dropped and shared in LabCoatAgents. Just know that we take what we do really, really seriously, and we're now in all 50 states in Canada, and we have tens and tens and tens of thousands of people that are being helped every day. Every single person gets the special treatment. And if you're in here and you already use Client Giant, then you already know that. But just know that when you trust Client Giant, we take it really seriously. We want to deliver big time on those promises, and the end of the day, we want your shout outs to be on the page too. We want you to be crushing it. You'll see case studies, testimonials littered throughout the whole website where we didn't ask for them. We didn't ask for any of those. They just came. And people shared their story, and we said, hey, is it cool if we use that then?
Awesome.
And that's really the most validating part.
That's awesome. Thank you, sir. Thank you for your time. Keep
Thank
kicking
you.
ass. It's incredible what you're doing, and got a front row seat to the best show in town is watching your growth and watching you guys just go do it. So thank you.
Thanks, Jeff. Thank you. Appreciate it.